Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. This episode is part of our Bookseller Lightning Talk series, in which booksellers present short talks on tech tools, organizational strategies, communication methods, or innovations they've made in their stores.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our October Lightning Talk. Lily Rugo from Harvard Bookstore in Cambridge will be discussing Bookstore and book clubs and their relationship together.
Okay. Starting my timer so I don't ramble too much. Book clubs and bookstores. Let's see. I run two, officially and unofficially. I run our store one here as of this summer. And then in 2019, I started a personal project book club. The Harvard Square Book Circle is a legacy of the store. I said it started the mid 2010s. It probably started way before that. We meet once a month. It's free to attend. Regular attendees across a wide range of age. At our first meeting that I hosted, you were either in your 20s or in your mid 50s. There was no in between. Originally, I'll say with the caveat, so it ran for a very long time up until 2019. We stopped that in 2020, and then as of a few months ago in July, I brought it back to existence. We tried to collaborate with a local cafe. It didn't end up working out. So we're now going to host it in the store again. Our featured title is a discount for members every month. And we read across genres, mostly fiction. We'll throw in some nonfiction next year. This one is one that I started in 2019, honestly, with a customer. She came up and was returning. She bought a book for a local book club. And I was like, oh, I remember this book. It's good. And then the next day she came back and returned it. And I was like, what happened? And she said the book club wasn't really the demographic I was looking for. And I said, do you want to start one? So we did. It's locally organized through mostly online presence, Facebook, Instagram. We have an email list serve, and we have a free website. We meet at someone's house. And I think it's great because it really encourages bookstore and literary community with people who love books. And we've had a few authors reach out to speak with us, and we've hosted them. We also have bookmarks that I give out to authors when they come by the store. This is mostly how I run the book circle discussion. I do a quick introduction of who I am. I say a quick caveat about this is a safe space. Please be mindful of what you say. And then I always ask who's read the book before, whose first time is it reading this. And then for the discussion, you just kind of let it flow. I do a lot of pointing to call on people. I try and summarize or at least, address a little bit of what they've said to make sure I'm hearing them right. And then you've got to take a back seat when the discussion really gets popping off. The harder part is when it doesn't, and you're just kind of vamping for a while up there. And then the wrap up, you got to plug next month's book. And when we were at a different location, we brought some products to sell. So I would point those out. Book club is not for selling things that we found so far. Book club is for community building. Finding discussion questions. I do a lot of this day of. First things first, you do have to read the whole book. It is tough if you're like me. But honestly, best place to find discussion questions, the back of the book. A lot of paperbacks will have reading guides, online guides. The publisher will also often have it. Going through book reviews, seeing what other people thought, going through author interview to see what their process was when they wrote it, how their viewpoint has changed since writing the book. I find it's very helpful to always, in the discussion, to put the book in the context of the time it came out and what it has to do with the time we're reading now, and explain a little bit why we chose this book. Marketing, getting the word out. We have a special website page on our main website specifically for this. We send a monthly newsletter. And if you're going to do that, you have to have a landing page. We would just get emails dozen a day of add me to the mailing list. And then I finally figured out how they can do it themselves. We have a featured listing on our events page and our events calendar. It's on like our Facebook events. And we have a recognizable social media template. So it's going to look, a little thing. See, some things will change, the color, the cover, but that's the format we're with. Tips and tricks that I've just found. Choose a book in paperback, as Leah mentioned, that hardcovers are a little tougher to sell, especially if they're expensive. If it's a book in paperback, greater chance people have already read it. We found featuring the title for our frequent buyer members has been very helpful. It's 20% off for them, a little bit more incentive. We made a Libro FM playlist of our book picks, and we ordered bookmarks. Bookmarks from Libro. So on the front, it has like our design. On the back, it has Libro information. And we give those out at the book club meeting, and we just have them in the store. Keep the backlog of books accessible on your website. So on our webpage, we have a list of everything we will read, and then the book picks coming up. So that way people are like, I can't make September, I'll plan on November stuff. So things like that. And I was going to say sell other items at the meeting. Again, this is more helpful if it's not hosted in the store, but even then, if you just like have a little side table featuring some stuff, backlist from the current author you're reading, some knickknacks for annotating books. That I feel like that's very part of book club core aesthetic right now. Bookmarks, either your own stores, cute ones. If you've ever been anywhere near Harvard Bookstore, you know that one of our booksellers is just evangelical about selling book darts. And he's right. They are incredible. That's how I mark all of my discussion books. And of course, you have to have copies of the next pick that's coming up. And I believe things that I found beneficial for our store and just, me as a book lover. It engages a community beyond our regular customer base. We have a ton of regulars who remember Book Circle from back in the day, pre-pandemic, and they're really happy it's back. But also, we're across the street from a college, so we get new people in every year or whatever, and this is a really good way to reach them. It connects with the community and it gets them invested in our presence, so we're not just a retail storefront. We're a place where they want to spend time and hang out, and they've made friends and stuff. Authors really like to be involved. I don't know if I would recommend inviting the author to so I found it really helpful with my Asian book club because that's smaller in its community. But if it were something like my workplace bookstore, that's a lot bigger. And I don't know if you want to have your local author be at the event where we tear apart your book, So if you're going to invite authors, maybe do like a 30-minute discussion before they come and then have the author arrive. It's great for local authors, of course. It's another avenue for bespoke merchandise, tote bags, bookmarks, buttons, all sorts of like what happens at book club stays at book club stickers. It's really great for that. Vistaprint is great for those sorts of things. We've gotten staff really excited in this. Staff love to pick out a book, the book that we should read. We all love shoving our favorite things and like our favorite books into other people's hands. And it's a way to expand our brand and values, not only in like the discussions we have, but the books that we pick. I think that says a lot about what we want to read and discuss. Being mindful of the questions and what you say when you discuss it is also very important. But it's another, like I said, it's the way to invest in community more than in like retail sales that I've found. And that's it. Very short. I kind of blew through it, so it's under 10. So let me know if you have any questions, and I can stop sharing or keep this up. I don't know. What should I do?
Oh, you can stop sharing. So just in case hands go up, I keep my eyes out. I do have a question. Can you clarify that the book club, the Asian book club, is through the store but in somebody's house?
Oh no, that's a hobby. That's a personal
Okay.
project, but it's just like book club experience that I have.
Oh, cool. Because then I had my question went to like, what's the legality behind
Yeah.
posting a? No, okay. Thank you for
Yeah.
clarifying that. I apparently I needed that. Um, that was my question.
Oh, one other thing that someone in my at the store told me when I was like, I want to start book club, book circle again. Um, it helps even if you're not the person leading the discussion. Like I've told the staff of like, if you want to read your all-time favorite book and you really want to talk about it, which is actually a really bad advice, do not discuss and bring your favorite book to book club. I was like, go for it. Please take the discussion. But then someone else told me that even if having a consistent point person is nice to have someone, one, who knows the deal, and two, a familiar face for regulars and new people. So even if you're not the person discussing the book and doing all the talking, unfortunately, when you sign up for book club to run your store's book club, you're going to do it forever. So keep that in mind.
You mentioned reading across genres. Do you also read across age groups? Do you ever do YA with adults and or highlight middle grade titles?
It's tough because so my Asian book group, no rules because it's just us in our free time, and we read cross genres, mostly YA and adult, and that's just because that is our readership. Like the six of us, that's our readership. Um, at the store is also very difficult because we have a lot of we have a lot of families and we have a lot of YA readers and so on and so forth. But there's also a certain tone to our branding. So probably not middle grade. We're most likely going to do maybe YA, depending. Um, that's also part of the thing of what book club, what book circle was 2019 previous is different than what I want to do because I want to have more fun. I think the previous iteration was a little dusty. So I want to have more fun, but I'm not sure how far can I push the genre boundaries before our customer base just quits showing up.
Okay, I have a question, but I don't know how to raise my hand on this thing anymore. So, oh my God. Okay, so really quick, can you rewind to the part where you're talking about like how the bookstore, or not the bookstore, how the members of the book club stay connected outside of book club? Or if they do at all. I know there's newsletter involvement, but
Yeah, mostly it is I think through our newsletter and we have a social media. I think for the customers again, they don't really talk to each other. Like I know other bookstores will have a Discord or a Slack specifically for their groups, which I think is a great idea. My Asian book club has a Facebook chat for all of us, but again, that's our demographic thing of our main customer base are not the most tech savvy, so we won't be doing a Slack and Discord, but I think that's a great idea for younger younger stores. So for the most part, ours is kind of a one person telling the news connection.
Considering that your demographic might not be so tech savvy, we're talking about the folks in Cambridge. Are they, how do you then balance what you actually want to bring to your community versus what you know they will receive with open arms?
I mean, I'm lucky in that I feel like that Venn diagram is pretty large in the middle, at least the things that I want to discuss. And yeah, I know that because I've been at the store for about 5 years, so I do know exactly where that hard line is. Like we're not going to read and not even talking about politics. I'm just talking about genres. Like we're not going to read Fourth Wing. Like that's way out of line. As much as I would love to bring that kind of genre element to it, and as much as I know that would sell and be popular. So I'm trying to figure out like for me in what was it, July? July we read Parable of the Sower. And that's for me that perfect line of like, okay, it's a little edgier for our customer base, but it is still like literary fiction. It's sci-fi, but it's still like challenging and it has something to say. So we're kind of, that's where I am of just like and I don't think I answered your question. um yeah, it's I know the customer base and I know what immediately wouldn't fly, so I can kind of like push it just a little. So I guess you just kind of poke until the bear
Yeah.
wakes up.
Thank you. I think what's really interesting about the three people who presented today, Leah, you, Lily, and Allie, who had to pop off early, is that all of these things were so fundamentally rooted in the community, and how you respond to your communities are very different. And like, um, Harvard being an established bookstore, as old as the city is. I mean, it's been around forever. Leah, you've been around for a year. Alley store had been open for 6 months, and all of what you do is really finding and speaking to either the community that exists or the community you want to grow. And it's absolutely fascinating and fabulous. So thank you all for being here. Please, if you have any other questions for Lily, for Leah, or we can send questions over to Allie, please let us know. You can drop them in the chat, or send an email to education@bookweb.org, and we can forward your question along later if you prefer to do it that way. Well, I just want to say thank you to all of our speakers today. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Allie. We hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to the Bookstore Education Podcast, brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Additional educational resources can always be found on the ABA website at www.bookweb.org. Happy reading!